The Coleman medal.
The Norm Smith medal.
Brownlow medal.
Is Jimmy Bartel.
Matthew Lloyd.
So the first game we're going to look at is Max Gawn's team. He won't be there, Max Gawn, but he'll be playing the Bombers. And they are red hot, and the Dems are trying to find themselves. And Sam Draper, he's been back in the last 2 or 3 weeks, Jimmy, and what an opportunity it is for Sam Draper to take control. Will it be Fullerton who gets an opportunity, or do they ruck a Van Ryan type?
Either way, Lloyd, you expect some dominance like we saw on the weekend. Last time he played the D's last year, he kicked a career-high 3 goals. We want to see a bit of that action, not only the physical dominance around the contest, being really aggressive, but push forward and even drop back in the hole here. You love seeing that from your ruckman. Just fill the space.
Oh, he's looking better and better since, I think, one ruckman worked at the Bombers. So Goldie's now there as backup, but big opportunity for Big Draper to give the Bombers first use. And one of those players he'll give first use to is to Zach Merritt.
Exactly, and he's a player we all love watching. He's got nearly every kick in the bag. You can kick him nice little pillows there, run into that, hit absolute lasers, class act, and a lot of discussion about not if he's in the All-Australian team, could he possibly be the captain? And he's leading by example, but who would you send to him? Well, Alex Neil-Bullen, the nibbler there for the Demons. He gets all the big jobs now since he's been recast as a run-with player because he's got that huge work rate. And that's the thing I like about Merritt this year. Even if someone's sitting on him, he gets to the next contest. He doesn't go looking for the real easy ball. He keeps working on the outside. And here's another man who runs really hard, Dacos. And that's when we saw Neil-Bullen pick up this role. This is magnificent work rate because, as I mentioned, Dacos has a huge work rate, but step for step, can go anywhere, stays disciplined. And I like this as well. Don't become completely negative. Still win the ball if it's in your area. Push the opposition player, which will be Merritt, into a bad spot and get involved in the attack.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think when Chin Cotter got a hold of Merritt, it helped Carlton win the game. So in this situation, I want to talk about Andrew McGrath, the matchups that he gets. Wonderful player, just played his 150th game. So these are his scalps this year. So the minutes, the opposition disposals and the goals. So he's just beating everyone. And I think Cozzy Pickett has become Melbourne's most important player with no Christian Petrarca, and that's the matchup I'd send him to.
Yeah, and what I'd love to see from Essendon is, of course, Melbourne, when they've got time and space, they can pick sides apart. But you've highlighted this for the Bombers. When you've got now Mackay and Ridley and even Redmond down back, you can't allow this ball movement. West Coast, they're just going through the motions, as we know. But look at them pick you apart. This is Melksham here on the left foot. Swing this one around to Cozzy, who you have McGrath on. But this is what you've got to do. You've got to put a lot of pressure because otherwise...
This is the best of Melbourne, where their ball movement was very, very good.
Yeah, you get opened up. But what we want to see from Essendon is lots of pressure on the ball carrier. So the ball's kicked up really high and really slow. So then... Obviously, you can come off and intercept because otherwise this sort of stuff happens. We'll see Melbourne getting out the back, plenty of space inside forward 50. We go through the highlights. Look at that, slow, gives your defenders an opportunity. Another one, put enough pressure on the kicker there. Slow, gives your defenders an opportunity to rebound, get up really high. This time it's McKenna. It's a bit of a mongrel kick, still wins the ball, but you win in really good spots and you can score off the back of it.
Do you think Melbourne are capable of moving the ball well against the side that's not the West Coast Eagles?
Well, if they're allowed this time of space, they can. But I think the Bombers, they've shown they can bring a lot of intensity and pressure around the ball to set up opportunities like this for the Bombers.
Yeah, I think Ridley Mackay behind the ball last week with more pressure on the ball from the Bombers. They couldn't get past them. So who do you tip in this one?
I'm going to go with the Bombers.
Yeah, I think the Bombers are well ahead at the moment.
What are you, Damo?
Yeah, Bombers just.
Bombers, there you go. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more Medallion Club coming up.
The Coleman medal.
The Norm Smith medal.
Brownlow medal.
Is Jimmy Bartel.
Matthew Lloyd.
Everything is on the line for the reigning premiers Collingwood when they take on Geelong at the MCG on Friday night. And here is the Collingwood coach, Craig McRae, speaking during the week on SEN Radio on his side's concerns.
I'm watching guys that's not quite covering the ground at times. I'm going, OK, right, what's going on here? You know, is that in the mind? Is the mind winning that battle? When we're not connected as a team, we don't look as energised.
This is what it looks like, Jimmy. The numbers against the Bombers, some of his worst in his time at Collingwood.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And you even throw back to the Gold Coast game, the uncontested numbers were enormous and for the Gold Coast Suns. And they want to get back to their DN McRae. Yeah. Really, it's that intensive pressure. And it's actually applying it around the ball, which allows them to actually really get off and set up this proactive defence that they're super at. And there's an example of just sort of relying on somebody else to do it. You can do this when you're a good side. You start to think someone else will take care of it. So I start peeling off a little bit early. Look at this, rolling up to no man's land, but he's expecting the next player to roll over. You only need to be 2 or 3 seconds off with your decision making and it all comes apart, especially when you play such a system defence or a team system that one rolls off a little bit earlier. Look at that. just came from next to the man on the mark, thinking, oh, the next person's going to take my man. Look at the 4 Essendon mids here, just strolling through. They're not really sprinting through there. Langford wheels and goes. Which one do I want to hit? Just lob it in the middle. One of the 4 will take it. So it's just this expectation that my teammates will do it.
This is what the best looks like. So this is what I'd be doing. I was Craig McRae. We started poorly our season, but we went up to the Gabba and we beat the Brisbane Lions. Look at the intent in this game compared to what it's looked like on the weekend.
Yeah, and the key thing is, look at all the players coming back into screen, where those other ones, players are just drifting through, number in, the next number in. So if the first tackle misses, the second will get you, and that's where you can generate some good looks.
Yes, they have injuries, but their attitude can be better, and they need to have more intent. Tom Stewart, talk us through the role that he's playing now.
A star, we know, but obviously had some struggles during the year with someone sitting on him. And what they're doing here is Tom Stewart is the sweeper in the centre bounce, but then he plays this role as sweeper all over the ground. So what he does is he's one kick behind the play. He gets help from Mark Blitzarves and he gets help from De Koning, but it's the small forwards for the Cats here. Sean Manor had 14 tackles. We've got Myers and we've got another winger who will roll up here. And Tom Stewart, watch this, no real intent to come through, sits back, gets the forwards coming up, and they are allowed to go pretty hard for the footy because they know they've got Tom Stewart here covering them off, and then he just plays the game one kick away. Again, he's just dropped out of the stoppage, forward comes up, we've got still the same amount of numbers, sometimes one down, but you've got this cover at the back where Tom Stewart can just read the game, and this is where he can get into really dangerous positions now. He can even get free, still plays this intercepting role. Look at this, free player. There's Mark Blitzarves there helping him out too, but it's because the small forwards come up and apply enough pressure to allow him to play that role.
I'd love to see Braden Maynard go after him this week. One-on-one. Can you see the Pies winning this at all?
I think this will be closer than most people think, but still the Cats.
I'd agree with that. The second game we look at is the Western Bulldogs and Carlton. What a big game it is for the Bulldogs. It's a final for the Bulldogs in July, and they were pathetic last week early in this game against Port Adelaide. The game was over because of their midfield. So this is a minute into the game, and look at Tim English and Liberatore and Treloar walking through the corridor. Connor Rozee has 3 touches in the space of 15 seconds and just goes inside forward 50. So you can't blame O'Donnell, you can't blame the defenders. This is just poor from the Western Bulldogs midfield. If they serve that up against this Carlton midfield, they'll be oblitterated again at Marvel Stadium.
Yeah, and we've seen Carlton absolutely light up sides in a quarter. And Lloydie, from the centre, it'll start obviously Big Sweetie, as Bevo used to call him. Now, this is him going up against Tim English, but you can imagine De Koning doing something similar.
Yeah, so I thought Tim again, he's under a lot of scrutiny, Tim English, but he's just not working hard enough. Again, this is Jordan Sweet, who was sacked and moved on by the Western Bulldogs, beating Tim English in the centre bounce. And now it's De Koning. I think De Koning's got an aggression about him, and he would look at the more experienced Tim English and go, you know what, I'm going to go after him like I went after my brother. And that's an insult on Tim English for the experience that he's got.
Now, what I want to see from the Dogs, the Giants did to the Blues, and it was 26 tackles inside forward 50, and it was also a pressure rating 260. It was because Carlton in the 4 previous weeks, their ability to score from the back half to the front half, but it's very difficult when you're under this amount of pressure, and we know the Dogs can play this way. They're very hungry for that sort of football where numbers just keep swarming. There's the challenge for the Dogs forwards and mids. Get in after it, you can create issues for the Blues, and look at the scoring looks you get for the footy. You can get out the back, you can get multiple looks inside forward 50, and you're not having to defend Mackay and Kerno way back inside your 50.
West, Waitman, Vandermeer, they're the players that need to do those sorts of things. And last one, Jimmy, you've been impressed by Zach Williams in his new role?
Of course, so they've swung him forward, but this is the matchup I'd like to see. Zach Williams plays pretty deep for a small forward. He often gets a lot of his shots on goal. Look at these are all 15 to 20 metres out. Bailey Williams for the Dogs. I know he's been playing up on the wing, but we know he can play down back. I think this is a good matchup because he's physically strong enough. Williams will still try to mark it, but this is the opportunity as well. He's got a lethal right leg on him, as we all know, and he actually can create some overlap, start some scoring change from the back half off Zach Williams because he just wants to stay back inside forward 50. As soon as the turnover, get the ball in this man's hand, means you can keep Bailey Dale higher up the ground.
No Liam Jones, no Aaron Norton. I think it's trouble. Trouble for the Western Bulldogs.
No Cody Waitman.
Out as well, yeah. 3
they're
big
in trouble.
losses, yeah.
Okay.